There are very few things that scare me in life, and I think one of the things that scares everyone is death. What is death? How does it happen? When will it happen? Happens to everyone. What happens after? It's very interesting thinking about such concepts, especially when I have so much more life left to live, and I really shouldn't be stressing about it. I mean, I'm not even 20 yet, but it's very interesting still to think about such things because it's going to happen to us all eventually, maybe unexpectedly. And it's nice to, I guess, understand the inevitable end. I get very scared by the unknown, which is ultimately what death is. It is the one thing nobody can tell you about. So we make up stories. We make up stories of heaven and hell, of nirvana, of ghosts and spirits. But that's exactly what they are. They're stories. They're not facts. And while no one can speak on death because no one is alive to tell the tale, that would be contradictive. And this may seem like kind of an odd segue, but how do we invent concepts? How do we invent words? We invented the theory of relativity, and we invented physics on our own. But death is a constant. It has always been there. Since life itself has existed, death has been there to curb it. So what is this inevitable entropy that seems so unyielding and terrifying? No one can truly know, but I feel like, at least to cope with it myself, I have my own philosophy, and I'll share that with you at the end of the video because I want your watch time. But in the meantime, I just want to say, I hope you enjoy the video. Now, there are major instances of death across history, such as the Crusades, the Black Death, World Wars I and II, influenza epidemics, COVID-19 recently. And you don't really think about death until it happens, whether you're given a time limit or someone you know is, or they just die unexpectedly. You don't really think of it, kind of like you don't think of breathing until it stops. And that seems scary to me. Like, you just walk along trying to function, not realizing that you're functioning and that one day it will cease. And you're not paying attention to that fact. Doing everything you can to stop it. Why aren't you doing everything you can to stop it? You gotta slow this process down. God, please stop it. Why? Then again, who would want to live forever? Maybe it's just that it doesn't feel like enough time. Time is another funny thing. It's a constant source of stress in everyday life, not just from death. Oh, I might be late to my appointment. Oh, I'm only gonna get 3 hours of sleep tonight because I stayed up all night gaming. Oh, I just wasted an hour trying to edit a video and then I scrapped it. This actually just happened. And, oh, I wasted all this time working up a YouTube channel and I decided I didn't want to do this career. I spent all this time in college and I decided I need to change my career. That's not just a waste of time, that's a waste of money. But time marches on, with or without you. And that's the scary thing. You don't have a say with time, just the same way you don't have a say with death. Death is as constant as time. And everything is going to die, even the universe. And that will be the death of time. For those of you who aren't well versed in theories of heat death, which is considered the most likely theory for how the universe is going to end, this is a bit of a side tangent, but I think it's a worthy existential crisis to expand upon. Heat death is basically the idea that the universe is ever expanding, right? Well, It's not creating new matter in the process. It's just expanding the space in between the matter. So logically, it would expand the matter itself eventually, the space in between the matter, like the condensed matter, till the world and the universe reach absolute zero, or 0 degrees Kelvin. In other words, particles don't move. They are so cold, so frigid, that movement becomes impossible. That is heat death. And that is horrifying. But it's something we don't have to worry about, not in our lifetimes, because we will be dead long before that. Anyone who's watching this video could be dead tomorrow, or in 100 years, maximum. It's really scary thinking that there is a ticking clock and a rolling dice every day of your life. And as someone who believes they are very unlucky most of the time, that dice seems to be scarily close to 1. And I'm not trying to play the world's smallest violin. I know there are people who are far worse off in the game of life than me, such as cancer patients, Alzheimer's sufferers, those in war zones like Ukraine or Hamas. Not Hamas, Gaza. Forgive me. These are touchy subjects. If you are at all offended by any of this, I don't mean to. It's just things. But death is very prevalent. We just got out of a pandemic, and we are in the midst of 3 wars. And it can feel like the world is collapsing, but it's not. There have been worse events in history revolving death. For example, the Black Death was just a pandemic, and it killed 1/3 of Europe. 1/3. That is 33%. And that is on the low ball of estimates. It could have killed up to 1/2 of Europe. That is 50%. But I digress. The important thing is that it's simply not worth worrying about when there are far more timely and important things to worry about. It's just not worth the stress in terms of everyday life. Because if you spend your time cowering from death, you will die 1,000 times. That's it. That's the big tagline. It's a lot scarier fearing death than it is, I guess, going through it. And that's my understanding from fearing it myself, and I still fear it. But that's my understanding from fearing it and looking down YouTube rabbit holes of Alzheimer's, an incurable disease, cancer, a next to incurable disease, and people who face death every day. I forget the name of the disease, but there's a disease that makes you age 8 times faster and you barely live to your teens, and you're lucky if you live past that. If you know, you know. But life's just not worth worrying about the end of when you're in the middle of it. There's so much of the journey to go through before you have to worry about the destination. It's just not worth the energy that could be spent on the here and now. And that goes for looking towards the past too. You don't need or at least I shouldn't be telling you what to do, but I don't believe that it's worth it to look to the past at what could have been when you're in the moment, and you can make that decision for yourself. Regret is inevitable in life. Acceptance is a gift. And I think that's the key to not fearing the unknown, is the acceptance of it. The acceptance that the unknown exists. And since death is the ultimate, last, and greatest unknown, once you accept it, you can conquer anything. And I find that very touching, that those people who fear nothing are often some of the kindest, some of the most well-rounded souls, but also some of the most tragic. Like what I've said about the disease that makes you age extremely fast at like 8 times the rate of a normal human. Those people are incredibly kind, from what I understand. They just take it with a big smile on their face, and it's awe-inspiring at the amount of courage that they show, knowing that there won't be a cure in their lifetime, but the amount of time they have on this earth will be spent towards finding a cure and fighting for the greater good of that cure. And it's very interesting to me, but that's a side tangent. Anyway, how do I deal with death? I treat it like a Schrodinger's cat. There's a philosophy called the Schrodinger's cat. You take a cat, you put it in a box, and you put a bomb in it. You can't hear the bomb, you can't see the bomb. The bomb has a 50% chance of killing the cat. You can't see it go off, you can't tell. So, until you open the box, the cat is both alive and dead. So, what does that mean for death? It is the ultimate unknown. And that is what Schrodinger's cat kind of implies. It's the ultimate unknown. And what I see is there's a kind of a coin flip. There's an optimist route and there's a pessimist route. Personally, I like the optimists, but I guess you can be the judge for yourself. The idea is that maybe all of it is real. All of it. The idea of achieving enlightenment and nirvana, the heaven, the 9 circles of hell. Maybe everyone goes to heaven, maybe everyone goes to hell. Either way, it's better than just infinite nothingness and endless sleep. Maybe simulation theory is real. That would be interesting. But, like I said, the speculation is not worth the time when you can live in the moment. So go outside and touch grass. I'm out. Thank you for watching.